Ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to this week's episode of Creek the Casual. I'm your host, Srekcuf5, and joining me as always is DorkyDev. Say hi, Dev.
Hello.
Hi, Dev. How are you doing today?
I'm doing alright.
That's good. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm already kind of worried because just in the pre-show,
Yes.
we've already had twice now where on my side, your camera has froze. But you just told me that at some point you couldn't hear me, and then...
Well, what happened was when I switched from my phone over, for some reason it didn't load your camera.
Strange.
And every time I've frozen for you, you've been fine for me. It might have been just because of the phone, and it might have just been the transfer over. We'll see how it goes.
Either way, this week we'll see. Either way, anything you want to talk about before we start getting in and talking about this week in this movies?
Hi everyone. Welcome to the new week.
Alright, it's a new week.
Yeah.
Alright. Cool. So this week I've called it 3 Armies to End It All, because we're talking about Lord of the Rings 3, Return of the King. You really think about it, there's 4 armies, but only 3 that matter in the end. Yeah, we're going to talk about Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I've got nothing else to say before we get in this, so do you want to just hop in here, get in and start talking?
I want to say, I honestly, this time I think I liked this movie more than I did last time I watched it, I think.
Really?
Yes, I honestly believe that.
Okay.
And I'll explain more during the pre-spoiler section.
I mean, we already know what your rating's going to be, so...
Yeah, duh. I'm sorry. My rating's gonna be obvious. But where it gets scaled to, will be dependent.
Okay. All right.
Where your counterbalance lands is the question.
All right. So in that case,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No,
Right,
I
about
was just
to say,
like,
let's just get it started then.
All right, let's get started.
All right.
Return of the King, coming out in 2003. It was released in theaters December 17th. Coming in, if you watch the original extended edition, not the Blu-ray version, it's 3 hours and 21 minutes. Original theatrical run was 200 and... That's not a promising sign.
200 and what?
So, original runtime of 192 minutes, just over 3 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
The extended edition, 3 hours and 21 minutes, or 201 minutes. And the Blu-ray extended edition... Wait, no. DVD special edition? Oh, no, sorry. Jesus, there's so many different cuts of this movie. I think the DVD version was 245 minutes. The original runtime for theatrical was 201. And for some reason, the widescreen edition was shorter. And then the Blu-ray edition is 263 minutes. I don't know how long... 254 minutes? That's... quick math.
You actually
like
want to
4
do
hours.
the math? Yeah. I was about to say.
Over 4 hours. This movie was 4 hours?
Yeah, that's 4 hours and 11 minutes. And I'll
That's
tell
how
you.
long I watched this yesterday?
Yes, I'll tell you why I know this was a long movie. I started this movie at 10 o'clock this morning. And at, I don't know what time it was before the first disc ended. My stepmom, who was watching the movie with me, she's like, all right, I'm tapping out. It's my nap time. I'm going to go to bed. She comes out from her bedtime 2:15ish, and I'm still fucking watching the movie. And she was like, "You're still watching the movie?" And I was like, "Yes, but don't worry."
What? Suddenly, you putting that in context. No wonder the group dropped during this movie.
Yeah.
I'll admit though, at least when I watched it this time, it didn't feel that long for me, at least. Because I feel like at least I will say I feel this one.
1 second, Dev. I can't hear you.
anything now. This is a bad sign.
Hang on, I'm switching us to U.S. Central. All right, now we switched areas. Maybe it'll work better.
Okay.
Why is my camera not on? There's my camera.
I don't know. Maybe if it helps, if one of these times you want to just turn your camera off, and switch it to so that you just have your own camera capture. I don't know how easy you can set that up, but like if it happens again, that may help.
It would take a moment, but
yeah, if it helps, it might help. I'm not 100% sure.
We'll see.
I think because of even though this movie is long as everything, it's the longest movie I think I watch on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better paced than Two Towers.
Yes.
With the ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm. It's actually one of the things I want to talk to you, is that in this movie, more than any of the other two movies, I felt the extended scenes were good. They didn't take me out of the moment. I
couldn't tell which ones were the extended scenes because I don't go back and look.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know based off of just how they were, it's obvious. You know what I mean?
For me, I don't know what it is. If there's a movie that I've seen and I don't quite remember it, there's still like a familiarity to it. But if I don't have a familiarity with a scene, I'm like, oh, this must be an extended part. And there are many times when I was like, I don't know. I was like Dumbledore in The Mines of Moria. I have no knowledge of this place.
Don't start.
Gandalf.
Yeah, and also, so box office wise, this movie had a budget of $94 estimated million. Opening weekend U.S. alone made $72 million, and U.S. gross overall made $377 million and $1.142 billion at the cumulative worldwide box office gross. Holy shit.
That's quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
This is also the only one that won awards, apparently, so...
Yeah, they waited. I think it was... Even though people think this one's the worst, personal opinion, I think that's the wrong take.
Okay.
I think it's on at least, because it's at least on par with the, at least, whatever one, for me, because I like Two Towers a little bit more, I honestly think...
That's just a full internet drop there. Give me 1 second here, everybody, while I quickly fix this.
Hello.
Hi. You know, what's sad is before the show even started, I restarted my computer and everything. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get ahead of this. I'm going to restart everything. I'm going to make sure that none of this stuff happens beforehand. And here we are, still dealing with my internet being a piece of shit.
Yeah. It kind of really sucks.
It has to be my modem.
That might be it.
Like, that's the only thing I can think of. It has to be the modem, because my guess is too many devices are on, or something. I know my dad has definitely messed with...
Are you Ethernet? Are you connected hardwire, or do you... Wi-Fi?
Mm-hmm. My dad will not allow me to put an Ethernet cable in this, because he says that having Ethernet cable going through the living room to my room would be too unaesthetically pleasing for my family. Most specifically my stepmother, because she has problems, and so to do the things, I let them do. I do as they ask and not put an Ethernet cable in. But I moved my computer tower so many times. It's ridiculous. Hi everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
We're back.
Yeah.
During it did give me time to do my retweet because I hadn't had the chance to do that yet.
That's good. But what were you saying about before I lagged out there?
I think this movie for me might actually be better than Two Towers.
Okay.
Due to payoffs for what's happened throughout the trilogy, due to scale of battle, I think the action in this movie is the best of the franchise. It's like throughout the movie.
Okay.
Best action. Helm's Deep, I still think is the best fight, but I think action paced and how it isn't it does take a little bit away from the like conversation side of things in this movie, but it has to because this is the war for Middle Earth, and so there is a lot more like battles and more interesting things happening from a combat stance. So there's a little bit more interest with that. There's a lot of cool lore related stuff that happens in this movie that even like expand further on things. There's probably Steven's favorite creature in the entire series.
I think I know which one you're trying to talk about.
And it's a dick move on my part.
It's okay. We'll talk about it when we get there. I was fine with it, honestly.
That's fair.
I played video games.
True. I'd like to see you see that thing in person. Because I know I'd shit my pants.
You would.
I think you'd faint.
You would have seen me today. I had to move some boxes on my back porch. Whew! That was a fun time. And that was a great frame to freeze on. Give me 1 second.
Freeze on my end.
Yeah, that was a great frame.
That was awesome.
Right.
I happen to look over for it. All right, well, yeah, we'll see if this works if you change to... Because I do have you up over there, so I might be able to see...
There we go.
It's weird. It's freezing on both our ends for this right now.
I've green screened. Hello. Hi.
Oh my god.
I exist here. And now I'm out of the box. Oh,
oh my god, you can reach out of the box. Oh, I don't like this. Oh dear.
I have to be a little bit bigger. Hang on. There we go. Now I can go over here and I can poke you. Hey. Hey.
I don't like this.
Hey.
No.
Right. We're good. Hi.
I like how you scaled it to your mic being at the edge of the box. It's pretty good.
I'm trying really hard.
Oh, I noticed.
All right.
You had it for a moment, and then you changed it back to be big for a second.
There we go.
Pretty good. It looks like the mic is actually like coming out of the box now. That's
perfect.
Good.
Figured it out. We're good now.
And now you can reach around the box occasionally.
Hi. Oh, that's like really. Oh. It looks cool for me, but it's also kind of like off-putting.
It's fourth wall breaking a little. Oh, that's cool. We might have found a new aesthetic for the show.
I'm okay. Sorry you can't actually... Hang on. Hey, how's it going? I'm relaxed. Having a good time. Hanging out right here with my buds.
I hate it. Okay, so this movie, like, I honestly, like, upon this rewatch, I think I appreciate this movie more than I originally did.
Okay.
And I think I like more in it as, like, a story overall, than I did Return of the King. Because Return of the King feels longer than this. Mm-hmm. And this movie is dramatically longer than that.
Yeah, that was a long-ass movie that we watched today.
It was. I watched it yesterday. I took a small break in between both discs to watch a couple YouTube videos because I wanted to catch up on some YouTube stuff real quick. Mm-hmm. But it was one of those things that I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, you still spent 4 hours.
Yeah.
Spent
a lot of time. But I think I like it more than I thought I did. Like, upon rewatching this, like, I think Two Towers, its thing is Helm's Deep, mm-hmm. but this one has the battle for Minas Tirith. I think that's how you say it, right? The city
Minas Tirith?
Minas Tirith. You have that, like, the battle for Gondor.
Yeah.
The battle of Mordor. You have the cool ghost scene when they go in there and all that, and the skulls come out. The skulls coming out of that was cool. I didn't remember that being all practical for a lot of that. Holy crap, that was cool.
I didn't remember that in general, honestly.
I think that part's extended.
Well, yes. That part, normally where the scene ends is where he asks the ghosts, how about you? Have at you? Whatever. He asks you, and then that's where the scene ends theatrically.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's one that I know was extended. Mm-hmm. But it's a good extended because that scene's also like the extended scenes in the game, and you do the run, like, and the skulls are falling, and you're still getting shot up by ghost archers and stuff. Like, it's pretty cool. But like, it's just, I think it's just better than I remember it being. And it's better paced. I think there's a lot of good character moments in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Gollum, throughout the movie, Gollum is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Sam and Frodo are fantastic. I know people got a little butthurt about Sam being a little bit more dickish occasionally during this, but it makes sense because he's trying to defend his friend.
Yeah, especially after what he's been through in 2 movies.
Yes. The scenes with Aragorn, like, taking his place,
Mm-hmm.
all fucking awesome. Like, every scene that he, takes that step towards the throne.
Yeah.
Is so cool. Gimli and Legolas, that moment that has been built up through the 3 movies at the end battle, like, it's still one of those things it's said, and I'm go, oh,
I can't hear it. Yeah.
you guys. Merry and Pippin have a ton of moments.
Dude, there's even the best thing about Lord of the Rings, in my opinion, is the character development and the progression. And like, it even has character development for an orc that showed up in this movie for the first time, from what we've seen. And like, this orc general, we could tell so much about him just by the...
Oh my god, dude, he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, and he only gets a couple seconds, or minutes technically, of screen time in this 4-hour movie. But he still has enough screen time to be able to tell him as an individual.
Yeah. He's obviously a worn-torn orc general.
Who's angry.
Who's been through battles, but doesn't give a shit. Hold your ground! Mm-hmm. Woo!
So
takes a small step.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? You're a badass. I'm like, I don't want to root for you, but I kind of want to root for you.
Yeah, you be pretty cool sometimes, a little bit here. That's pretty nifty.
Like, like, it's just, there's so much in this movie that, like, it's just. It pays off so much. Mm-hmm. Like, it does a really good job of paying off everything that was built up throughout the series. I think for it, like, there should be a way to cut out. Like, I don't mind because the flashbacks are only like a couple seconds. Mm-hmm. But if you've watched these, even like how I've done it, which is 1 a week, it's still very fresh in your memory. That it's like, I don't need it in there, but I understand why they did it because, the off chance you didn't watch the other 2 before going to see this. Mm-hmm. In theaters, hey, here's your quick reminder that this happened and that this happened. Mm-hmm. I appreciate because the flashbacks aren't super long. No. That's one thing I will say. They're a few seconds. So I do appreciate that. But also, like, there's a lot of characters, and like even for like, very small characters get some cool character moments. Like, we get, like, Dethanor, or Dienthor, the steward.
Denethor, I believe.
Denethor, yes, thank you. I'm really bad with names, we all know this.
God,
so just
these names, that's one thing I want to complain about really fast. I know you can't see my face, but the stream can't.
I can see it.
God, the one thing I hate in this movie is the fucking names. Especially if they are significant to the main character kind of in this movie, which is, I'd say, Frodo's, of course, the main character of the whole franchise, but the main character who's important in this movie is Aragorn. And everybody who's significant to him in some way, like the 2 bad guys, Saruman and Saruman, or the 2 love interests, Eowyn and Arwen.
Yeah, right?
God, I hate the names in this movie. But other than, it's fantasy, whatever. But other than that, God, keep going with what you were saying.
I love seeing Carl Urban's Warface during the charge with the spear. Like, that trick that he does with the spear where he's holding it like this, throws it up, and catches it like this on horseback
While in slow motion.
with a yell face. Like, throws it up, catches it in slow motion as they charge. That is a cool fucking scene right there alone. That like the little scenes you have with him before tell you a lot about his character, but that right there tells you everything else you need to know about him. Is that this man is a warrior for Rohan. Like, that is who he is. And he will fight. And, like, I love that. Like, that, just that moment alone is like, damn, cool. Faramir has a lot of great moments in this movie, especially with him and Pippin. I loved that scene with the armor.
Like, we get to... Yeah, I agree with that. I love that. One thing I liked is just, in general, a lot of our kind of more minor characters got interesting moments. Like,
Yes.
Mary gets a lot of time with Eowyn, I believe, and Faramir gets a lot of time with Pippin, and each one of them get their interesting moments both in their battles and in the character developments that they have just in between the scenes, you know? So...
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's such a good movie.
It really is. And I do have some complaints, of course.
No, that's fair. And you're, like, that's your job. I'm not going to criticize you for it. That's your job.
You always criticize me for my complaints. What are you talking about?
No, I just point out hypocritical moments and stuff like that. And I also defend things occasionally. I don't criticize you particularly for what you do.
No worries. Hello, Dad.
Hello, son.
What? Ooh.
There
He
you
made a show out of this one. Look at
Well, this is interesting with the green screen.
Right? Coming in from the side.
That is... What the... It disappears.
It's chicken barbecue
Okay.
bacon ranch burgers.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty good.
It's gonna be great. It
Also, just the acting in this movie is just fucking fantastic.
Even like one of the first things I noticed, one of the things I really liked was Elijah and his just walking in the very beginning of the movie, where he, by his steps, you could tell he was carrying something that was very heavy and hard to carry because
Yes.
he was bent over a little bit. Each one of his steps landed with a thud compared to Sam, who's just kind of walking right next to him. Sure, he's tired, but he's not carrying the heavy burden of the Ring of Power. So there's definitely a difference there, for sure.
And the makeup artist who did the stuff on him when like the shirt comes off for a moment, that was cool. Like because it just like because you can kind of see it like occasionally through like the collar and stuff like that. But when you see how much weight, sorry, wrong pipe. How much weight it really was, and how many scars he's gotten. Like Jesus, by the end of the movie, he's got a sting here, he's got a stab here, he's got the weight here. Like fuck, he's missing stuff on his hand, and it's just like, what, dude?
Part of me wonders if, like, eventually over time, if Frodo was, like, laid down with his head over a cliff, could the chain just cut through his neck and kill him?
I'm not sure. Because it would have to, it'd have to move and stuff like that.
Probably, yeah. So, and one of my
If his
favorite
body was decaying, yes.
yes,
Easy.
one of my favorite things, by the way, is always how they present the ring. It doesn't matter how it's shown to you in the very beginning of the scene. By the end of it, it's always sparkling and immaculate and beautiful and like
Hypnotizing.
exactly. I love it every single time. Where even in just the opening fight, where we get to see the backstory of Smeagol, the Hobbit.
That was awesome.
Yes.
I love that.
And the progression that it goes through. Oh, so nice. But like I liked that just in that opening scene where they pluck the ring out of the mud, and 30 seconds later, all the mud on that ring is gone, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So
It's got a mind of its goddamn own.
but things that I don't like, because I had mentioned things that I don't like. One of the things that I ended up not liking was, of course, the names. Didn't like the names, like I said. Um, there's a couple moments where I thought like one of the extra scenes were kind of unneeded, like the Ghost King. That whole sequence, while it was interesting, um, after the skull stuff, I thought it was a little unnecessary.
Oh, when they take the boat.
Yeah. Um.
I liked it. I like that scene because of Gimli.
Mm-hmm. Once,
I'll be honest.
I mean,
It's a
Gimli
fun
was
friend moment.
a lot of the best parts because he was honestly one of my favorite characters, especially because he became really funny in this movie.
Still only counts as one.
Mm-hmm. There was, or the, oh, an elf would go underground where a dwarf wouldn't. Oh, I will never hear the end of it.
The end of this. And the skulls.
Yes, and he's stepping on them. Just. Yeah, just scuttles across as fast as he could.
Or the drinking game.
Yes. It's like, oh, I feel a tingle in my hand.
I can't handle it like that.
Yeah, like Gimli has some of the best favorite moments in this movie. Let's see. One thing that I thought was kind of weird was there's a storytelling moment in the movie that I thought was kind of odd, which was after Gondor, but before Mordor, when we were cleaning up the battlefield. We got to see the entire arc for Éowyn and how she was healed and fixed up before they even introduced that Pippin was still looking for Merry. And it's like, that felt like a weird time travel thing in the movie.
Yeah, okay. And now that you bring it up.
Mm-hmm. And additionally, I was a little upset with the progression of the end. Because the movie ends 4 or 5 times.
Can I counterpoint?
Absolutely.
There's a lot to wrap up in this movie, though. Like, there's several ends that almost need to happen. There's the, not to spoil them all. There's the end of the movie when the Fellowship reunited, the crowning, the journey home, and then the goodbye. Those are the 4 ends. I mean, and technically it ends after the goodbye, but like that's more of the closing of the book happening. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure he wrote it that way, if I remember correctly. Can't remember offhand, but I'm pretty sure he wrote it that way.
Probably.
So part of that was also probably just due to the fact that they needed to adapt it that way. Because there is a lot of loose ends. If you just end it at the crowning, like, well, what happens to the hobbits? What happens to this? Where do they go? That kind of stuff. Like, I don't see there being an all-encompassing ending. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. Like,
but I also see how this could end if this could be the last episode. If let's say the series works, or the Amazon series.
Yep.
That's the epilogue episode. That's the last episode of the season. That's the closing of the series. I honestly feel like that's where it would have felt like. It's where I feel like a series adaptation works better for this. That's where I feel like it could work better. It's just closing the series out. Personal opinion.
Okay. Like, I just felt with this, I liked the ending that we got, especially because it felt really nice to see who it ended on specifically. That being said, that specific ending I'd probably do away with. The goodbye, I'd probably keep, but not all of it. Like, it's hard to say, because a lot of the end of the movie is very rapidly wrapped up. Like, we go from as the dialogue says, the exposition says, we go from 13 months to the year that they return to the Shire. And then the next thing we hear 2 to 5 minutes later is that it's been 4 years since they've come back.
Wait, since they left and came back?
Yeah.
It was 15 months.
No, it was 13. What they said in the movie was 13 months to the day from when they left for their journey and then came back. And
I thought
then,
it was 15 months to the day.
either way, one of those two, it doesn't matter. 2 months doesn't matter too much. But then the next time they mention time is they say it's been 4 years since the journey, and this place isn't safe for me. And like, there's a lot of time difference there, and I understand that some of it's unneeded story that we don't need to hear, but I still like, we go for one moment where one story ends, then we get another start of a story kind of, but it's also the end of one at the same time. But because we have this story that's kind of started, we also need to kind of finish the story that was also kind of started in this ending. So I don't know, like,
True.
I feel like they probably could have done something to make a little bit less of the ending. And that's probably my biggest complaint, is just that there's a lot of moments where I feel like the movie could have ended, where we didn't need this little last segment of information. But the information we did get was really nice, and I liked the movie. At the same time, I liked a lot of the endings.
I believe I believe it's explained better in the books. But due to the stab, there was the chance that like Frodo will still turn, to a wraith.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was kind of talked about. I'm going to say one thing though. We're not talking about the books. We're not talking about the comic books.
We're not. No, I know. Hey, I don't normally bring that up, but that's like the book brings that up. So,
And
not
true,
defending the movie for not bringing it up.
but I mean, and true, when you think about it, every book is better than
yeah,
the movie.
debatably in some cases. I don't know if all comic books are better than their adaptations. But or all books are better than an adaptation. I don't know. We'd have to delve into that sometimes.
We would have to have a comic book club.
Well, we'd have to read more.
Oh, I hate reading.
Same.
Do they have audio comic books? I'm just kidding. It's called
I'm more talking about books in general too. But then, like the other thing too is, like I'm not excusing them not explaining that, but that's why he needs to go, and that's why that whole thing happens. Like there's the fact that he could turn, but like, what does he got to do if he turns, kind of thing. Like he doesn't have a ring to go after and stuff like that. So
I actually spent, after this movie, I spent a good 30 minutes on the Wikipedia looking things up. So if you have a couple of questions, I can answer them maybe.
go ahead.
No.
If you want to explain that better than I could, then
Well, maybe when we get to spoilers.
okay. Also, like, cinematography in this movie is fantastic.
Yeah, I would also agree with you, like, with the fighting cinematography. I thought that was better once again. Like, first movie, it was terrible. Second movie, better. Third movie, the best when it comes to the fighting, because, like you said, a lot of this movie has to do with its fighting. That's what's important. It's not the exposition and building up the stakes. It's not the middle ground where we have to get from point A to point B and then raise the stakes even higher. It's the conclusion. You're already at where the highest it can get. You need to resolve it. How do you resolve it? With a freaking battle of the ages. But kind of appropriate because it switches from the third to the fourth age. So
Yeah.
But
The Age of Man.
yeah. So the one thing that I thought was a little, oddly enough, this time around, I thought one thing that was a little ham-fisted, one of those terms, I don't know which one it is technically, was their use of extremely high angles. Like, when we get to see Shelob, and she's over Frodo, I feel like, and then we get to see with Gollum standing over Frodo, and another person standing over Frodo. Like, they did a lot of. At least it felt like it was a little too much of that for me in this movie.
Or when they're on top of the elephant, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, just oh look how freaking tall and high up this one specific angle is. Like, yeah, that one. But otherwise, still loved it. I did like that there was kind of a little bit more of an explanation. At least it felt with some of the scenes too. Like in the theatrical version, I had absolutely no idea why the two units in Mordor started fighting each other over the shirt. I was like, what's going on? And only because after rewatching it, it kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. Because I think one's an Uruk and one's an Orc. And there's difference. And they're angry at each other because there's a difference between them. And at least that's my guess. I don't know. But that's what makes sense to me now.
Also, orcs just like to fight.
Also true. It's...
Music's taken up to an 11 in this.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I noted in here too, because I had a couple of notes in the very beginning, which was just audio transitions and just the music itself. Like, there are clearly times where you could just close your eyes and you know you've switched from the Hobbits to our Fellowship. And then,
Yeah, dude, it's so good.
it's just music too.
The music does so much work in this movie. I love one of my favorite like musical moments is the Charge Rohan, where it starts a little low, right? It's the lower part of the Rohan song, and then the king gives his speech. Death, death, death. The charge and the theme of Rohan plays like super triumphantly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second charge, where it's playing triumphantly, and then
it
just
stops. Yeah.
And you're like, oh no. Like, you could close your eyes and tell something horrible has just happened.
That's when you know the audios and the sound design is at its finest.
Oh, yeah. Some of the CGI, we'll say, for 2003 hasn't aged super well, but...
Yeah, I noticed a little bit more with the CGI in this movie.
Yeah. And part of it is just because I think there was more CGI in it.
Yeah, they're like, we can make this a little easier. CGI. Let's actually use magic for, like, CGI magic. Magic.
And it's just, CGI is just, CGI is always aging. The moment you make something that looks uber realistic, it's already outdated. That's the thing with CGI. So, I will say, for being a movie from 2003, I still think it holds up from that era. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, points for that. We do have, I've refrained from saying it until now.
Go for it.
We do have some Marvel folk.
Of course.
We do have Mr. Andy Serkis, who, if you didn't know,
plays everybody.
Well, yes, but also he is Claw from Black Panther and Age of Ultron. There's another one. Let me find him. That I saw. I'm like, oh yeah, you were in Marvel movies. Let me find him real quick. Because I don't remember his name off the top of my head. But when I saw him, I'm like, oh yeah, you're in Marvel movies. That's right. You've been in multiple Marvel movies, I think. Or at least one of them. Yeah. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. Let me just double check this. Yeah. Liv Tyler was also in Incredible Hulk as Betty Ross. There's our other connection from Marvel. Two people who have been in most of these movies.
Mm-hmm. I would have been mad. I probably would have been mad at you if you're like, Marvel of the week, first week, Marvel of the second week, Arwen, Marvel of the third week, Arwen.
I decided to wait till week 3.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And just do them at once. So, there's that. as of April 2020. That's as of April 4, 2020. Um, blaze it! I don't have the air horn on this fucking set. Damn it. Year of our Lord.
I'll be honest, I genuinely thought about having a fake graphic and having like Rasta music playing when we open the show.
You're an idiot. I love you, but you're an idiot sometimes.
I know.
It's just part of your charm, my friend. Part of your charm.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I just there's a lot to love about this one that like I don't know why people consider it the worst of the franchise because I don't know if it really is. Like in hindsight. Oh, maybe it's just me that thinks that. But upon reflection, I'm like, this movie's better than I remember it being, compared to the other two.
I'm trying to think of a specific reason why this one has a lot of the negative reviews on it, and I think a lot of it honestly has to do with one, the ending, and two. Jeff, can you move for me for a second? The answer is no. Yep.
It took longer this time to have that happen.
That's true. But yeah.
Oh my god, I was giant behind you.
Yeah, I can do that. Aha! Oh, maybe if the camera floats. No.
Where are you on my? Oh, you're over here.
Yeah. Wait, this way. Nope, I'm this way.
Yeah, whatever. All right,
Yeah, we can figure it out.
That bit's done. Oh, my door's folding. Oh, you folded the fabric of reality.
Space-time itself.
What were you saying when you cut out?
Sorry, 1 second. I have a mouthful. No.
There. Because it was probably about why this movie isn't better than the other two. Because I honestly, I need to hear someone explain if it is, because I don't think it is for me.
I think what it possibly is, my guesses are, one would be the endings, because the ending kind of feels really wrapped up quickly, based on all the things that they kind of throw in at the end. Another one would be, I genuinely think a lot of people didn't like the characters in this one. One, Sam being angrier. Two, Gimli being a lot funnier. Like, Gimli was funny in the other movies, but all of his lines in this case were just pretty much funny.
But, like, upon watching these together, like, over the span, like, those make sense. Like, Gimli's come out of, like, being just this, not necessarily sheltered dwarf, but he's come into his own.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you see that character, like, it's a character development. He becomes more comfortable around people that he, you know, was taught to despise. And Sam is willing to do anything to you know, save Frodo.
Oh,
help
absolutely.
Frodo.
Like, we can logic away anything I say, Deb, so it doesn't matter any of the excuses.
No, that's fair. No, and the ending's, like, that's understandable, in my opinion.
Plus,
because it's long.
Yeah, plus there's other things, too, that we can talk about, like how they went back to the slow-motion dramatic camera for only one scene. How the passage of time really isn't relevant, except it kind of does matter in a way.
Yeah.
Let's see, there is always how Gandalf has a plan, but he's speaking in riddles. Let's see. There was initially, it wasn't fairly well explained that Denethor or Denethor or whatever his name is, Denethor, was mad. It makes a lot more sense in the extended edition than it does in the original. Let's see. It could be
because you want
the faulty
you
CG
needed that
as well.
Yeah, but even like, I just, at least for me, like that, like,
It
there's
could
stuff
be
that you like.
or it's the fact that Eowyn's the one who kills the big antagonist, and it's not one of our main characters, so it feels kind of like a fluke, depending on which version of the film you see.
But it's a good character moment for her, and it makes. I don't know, like, none of the major reasons people point out as to why like this movie isn't as good, I can point out those same issues with the other two. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this movie is unfairly judged compared to the other two. I guess that's my criticism of the fan base more. I guess.
Okay.
It's like a lot of those criticisms can be taken to the rest of the movies. I guess. So I guess that's just my opinion on it, at least. So I'm still gonna hold my guns. I think it's the best.
Okay, I can appreciate that. In that case, we went ahead to. You want me to give you your popcorns?
Yeah, you already know my popcorns. Just keep the 10. Like upon this rewatch, like I know I wanted to give like last week if I could have broken the rule. I would have been like, all right, rule change. Can I switch these two? Honestly, that's how I feel right now. Like it's kind of weird. Like I've had an entire day to kind of sit on it, and I'm comfortable with that decision. Like upon the rewatch, I appreciate this movie a lot more.
I would say the only reason that you could get a higher score than a 10 was that it's a kids movie that gets a natural 10, and then you give it your kids +1.
That's fair, and this is not that. But even then, kids movies can't go higher than a 10 on our scale.
It's a kid's 11 out of 10.
I feel it can only hit 11 out of 10 if we both rank it 10 out of 10.
So the dragon train.
Yeah, the third
yes, Lost
Green Dragon.
Worlds.
Yes. Yeah, that one could be 11 because we both rated it. It got a natural 10 and it's kids film. So by default, it could get a bonus point.
There you go.
But I think you did give a bonus point to make it a 10, so I don't know if we could get that then.
I don't remember. I don't remember if it was a natural or not. We'll have to go back and watch.
I think I might have given it the bonus point on yours, which gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Either way, for this movie...
What would you rank it?
For this movie?
Yeah.
It's honestly fairly similar to me from last week's movies, so I give it a 9 as well.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Like, it's still good movie. A lot of great things to talk about in this movie. A lot of funny moments. A lot of interesting stuff. Great actors. Just a whole lot goes on that is really awesome, and I appreciate this movie. There are some things that you can complain about, which I did already, so I'm not going to go over that again. And, yeah. So that's that.
That's solid. This franchise so far is 10, 9.5, 9.5. I don't see this changing for anything going forward.
I forgot to resize this one. Breathe!
I want to go next week. Like, especially upon rewatching this, I'm dreading next week.
I don't think next week is going to be that bad. Let's talk spoilers before we get to next week.
No, you need to clip that. And that needs to play before we go live next week.
I don't think it will be that bad.
I don't think it'll be that bad. And then it'll start with me with my hand in. If it is that bad, my head's gonna be like this. And I will probably start with a yell as my introduction. I'm fair warning for next week. If it is as bad as I think it's gonna go, I'm pretty sure that's how the show should go.
All right, it's possible. But let's start talking spoilers this week. Things to talk about in spoilers.
Let's get ready to
right, so if you don't want to be spoiled on a 17-year-old movie, leave now.
What were you doing here in the first place? 'Cause let's be real, there was plenty of spoilers in the non-spoiler section, because it's just hard to talk about these movies without spoiling them, I'm not gonna lie. Because they're older, and there's so much about just the fine detail of it.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, like, Gollum is just fantastic.
Did you ever see that news thing? I saw it earlier today, and I might bring it up during the news section. But there was a man in Turkey who was in jail and possibly being charged, or might possibly be charged for death penalty because he insulted the Turkish president by comparing him to Gollum.
Jesus.
Yeah, so like he took comparisons of like side-by-side pictures of Gollum and side-by-side pictures of the Turkish president, and it's like, these two are the same. And that man went in trial and yada blah 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 blah. The thing I wanted to talk about was Stephen Colbert's response, because how it progressed was the man who was in jail. His defense was that Gollum, to him, was a hero of the movie. That being said, he has not seen the films, so he doesn't know. And so the Turkish president decided that he needs to get a Gollum expert to decide the man's fate. If Gollum is a hero and thus is okay in being compared to, or if he's not.
So Stephen Colbert's offering to be the expert?
Yes.
And I knew where that was going, because he's a fucking nerd. He's such a mega nerd.
When I spent some time wikiing the ending and stuff of this stuff, I also spent about an hour watching Stephen Colbert and his Lord of the Rings nerddom, which was great, especially him and James Franco's back and forth. Whew, one of my favorites.
Part of my inspiration why I have the shield up isn't just that, like, I'm a Captain America fan, like, through and through, but also, like, Stephen Colbert does it, or did it. Mm-hmm. He still does it technically, but it's hidden now. Mm-hmm. On his new show. It's that upper stage area. That's where that shield is now. But during the Colbert Report, he had that shield was easy to see. Mm-hmm. But like, also, what was I gonna say? Shit. Fuck, I had something, but I don't remember what it was gonna be now. Shit.
Okay. Oh, this was one thing. Did you think at all that Gollum's intro was a little bit too heavy-handed in its foreshadowing?
I don't know. It had a lot of things that repeat. I'll say that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think it was needed to also show just how powerful that thing was.
Mm-hmm. To the point that it also made him live for as long. Like, you really think about it, in the grand scheme of things, I guess Gollum really is the hero. Because not only does he keep the ring hidden for ages.
Yep.
He also is the one who has the ring thrown into the fire with him.
He's the reason why it falls in there.
So, Gollum's the hero that saves the day. It's not Frodo. You hear that, Turkish president? Save this man.
No, Frodo isn't the hero at the end of this. Like, straight up. Like, Gollum is the MacGuffin that saves things. He's the ex machina. In all honesty, you want to know who the hero is?
Sam.
Huh. Samwise is the hero. Easy. It's no contest.
Dev, you are now my Sam. Every hero needs a Sam.
It's true. Cap's got a Sam.
Exactly. Cap's got a Sam. John has a Sam. Frodo has a Sam. You need a Sam in your life, everybody.
You do need a Sam in your life. You need that friend who's going to be like, hey, I'll be with you through it all. kind of thing.
Mm.
Technically, you could have put your hand on my shoulder during that, but whatever.
No, I didn't. I didn't let the barrier go that far.
Oh, fair.
Yeah. I know you don't like touching me.
You can't quite touch me anymore.
Nope.
I have my I have my perimeters up. What'll be great is if I get a green screen at some point, and this is how we do the show, because then we can have a table and stuff like that, without having a table and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you got a green screen, we could set up a set where we're right next to each other, and actually
it'd
able
be
to
pretty good.
interact.
It'd be pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
There's your goal, Dev, and then we'll change the format of Critically Casual.
Hey, I'm fine with that. That'd be cool. We can have a TV behind us that has the Critically Casual back there with whatever poster you've created for it. Which, by the way, people, if you guys haven't seen all of Steven's thumbnails that he's created, they're fucking awesome. I love them, especially for this trilogy. I've loved what you've done with them because they're each unique to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So like, good job, by the way.
Yeah, the whole idea was I wanted to make them. They all wanted to be Lord of the Rings but each one of them I wanted to be individual, and some of them have aspects that transfer to the next one, and.
I think they've I think the first one was good, but I think they've progressively got better too.
All right.
I think 3 is your best so far.
Damn it! It fucking lags out when he's complimenting me. Fuck.
I may give a piece of advice if you're open to it.
Sure.
But after the show, because I wanted to be a surprise for the thumbnail.
Okay.
Oh wait, never mind. It can't work for the thumbnail. Never mind.
Oh, wait.
Hello? I
hit a lag spike there for a second.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know if it'll work for the thumbnail now that I think about it, but we'll talk about it after the show.
Okay.
But no, I fucking like this. There's so much in this movie that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no man can kill me.
I'm not a man.
I'm no man. Stab in the fucking face.
Yeah, that was
like,
freaking badass.
Shit.
And one of the reasons I actually really like the extended editions is because it gave both Arwen and I believe it's Mary in this battlefield.
Yes.
I get those two mixed up. I think
That's fair.
Honest. I think it's an honest mistake in this movie, but
they're connected to the hip until this movie. So
yeah. So it's when the two of them.
Pippin.
Mm-hmm. It's when the two of them are actually together, or when Eowyn and Mary are together on the battlefield and fighting, and you could actually see them having good moments of like actually being capable fighters. Compared
yeah,
it
was so cool.
Yeah, compared to in the theatrical cut, where on one side you get to see, like if I remember the theatrical cut appropriately, we get to see them riding up to the Oliphants, and then we get to see the Nazgul come in and then knock over the king. From that point on, I don't remember how Eowyn gets to be in front of the Nazgul and the king. But she ends up there somehow. She kills the Nazgul, kills the Lich King, and then that's that. In this movie, the way the extended editions have it...
We get one of the coolest fucking scenes ever.
Yeah, where we get to see her being a fucking badass, getting to chop through people left and right.
Well, not just that. We get the horse ride scene with the elephant. Is that extended or is that in the actual cut?
Which part?
The Mary take the reins.
She does that, actually.
Okay, cool. Which is fucking awesome. I love that because she's just... As she's going by, she grabs the sword, dual wields, while fucking Mary, the Hobbit, has the reins. She's both teaching him how to steer this horse, and is slashing the tendons of elephants, and throws a fucking spear into another one.
I don't remember the spear throw, but...
Oh, no, that was Aramorn.
Yeah,
sorry.
that was...
Aramorn with the spear throw. Which
yeah,
was, like,
to the writer.
Fucking combo, dude! Like, fuck!
Yeah. And then we get to see Mary, who actually, like, jumps on a guy and stabs him in the chest a handful of times. But...
I mean, he knows how to fight. Like, which also, I think it's... With him and Pippin, I really love because... Remember who was teaching them how to fight?
It was Boromir.
And what's the city they're defending and kicking ass saving?
I get you, Boromir City.
Like that is
Poetic.
a beautiful through line right there. Like, because they both have epic fighting moments in this that they haven't had time to show really.
I wouldn't really say Pippin has a good fighting moment though.
I think the moment where like he saves Gandalf.
That's not really an epic fighting moment though. Like Merry definitely goes from person to person killing orc.
True.
Pippin stabs and saves Gandalf with one stab.
But also,
and that's about
I feel like if Pippin was in the fight more, he probably would have done some kick-ass.
Quite possibly,
but
yes.
Gandalf told him to go back to the Citadel. Because also Pippin needed to save Faramir. Which
that's
he
actually
does.
Since you brought up Faramir, I have a question.
Yes.
Where the hell does the relationship between Faramir and Éowyn start? Because it's in the movie.
They're both healing.
Yes, in the movie, it's like, oh man, I'm the injured lady who's laying here on the ground, and I have two men who are by my side, caring for me hand and foot while I'm recovering, and in the distance is Faramir, staring at this lady. The next scene, it's the two of them standing right next to each other, being like, you know what?
As the armies leave.
Yeah, this isn't the end. Hand-holding and cuddling.
I think it's because, like, they're both attractive. I don't know.
I honestly think that's what it is. It's like, you're
both
attractive.
Attractive lords is the best way to put it.
It's like, you're the attractive acting queen of Rohan, and I'm the attractive acting steward of Gondor. Hey.
Want to make babies? Let's be real. And honestly, I feel like those two will be good for each other. Because Faramir is more the politician than I'm gonna say Éowyn is. And Éowyn is more of the fighter than he is. And I think that relationship's actually gonna work out.
So then would that make Faramir the king of Rohan eventually?
By marriage, yeah.
Fun.
Good for him, by the way.
He leaves one stewardship to be a king. Congratulations.
Yeah.
If marriage happened. We don't know.
Probably did. This movie's about the happy ending. Which some people take offense to. I don't ever want to be a happy ending.
There could never be a happy ending.
Also, like, George R. R. Martin has his own issues. Fucking incest.
Incest is wincest, right?
Apparently in Westeros. The amount of it that happens in that show, fuck.
I mean, it's only acceptable in the Southern Isles of Westeros.
My ass.
Everywhere else, you're going to be judged for it.
As the cousin of Sansa wants to marry her, as Jaime and Cersei, as there's a ton of others that like I can't name offhand because there was a lot in it. Like it was every at least watching, I was like, oh, at least once a season there's an incest thing. Okay.
What'd you think of the All Shall Fade song? The Pippin singing to.
Oh, yeah, damn. That song. Every time that scene's a good scene in my opinion.
I both love that scene, but only because I can't entirely figure out what they're trying to say there. Like, call me ignorant, or say I'm trying to study too deep into it and just missing the point because I'm going too far. But like, it's weird to me how it's all edited together with the music and the lyrics. Like, I love how it's put together though. That's the problem, because you get to see the king as he's sitting there and enjoying his just desserts and eating a very gigantic meal with deliciousness, and we get to hear him chewing, we get to hear Pippin singing, we get to hear only the action moments of the battle that's happening simultaneously, the arrows firing and the horse trotting. So it has something to do with like the duality of people and what I guess where some use others for no reason, but no matter what, we're all gonna die. Maybe. I don't know. You can't hear me because you're frozen. Give me 1 second. How much of that did you hear?
I turned the stream volume back on.
But yeah, it's just,
so duality of man and dying and stuff like that.
yeah, it just seems like at some point they just I feel like I'm either started going too deeply into this or not deeply enough. But like,
that's fair. No, that's fair. Yeah, no, it's
oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a song that I don't know. It's different than the rest of the music in the movie. Is how I'll put it. You know what I mean? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, just making sure.
I was thinking there. Sorry. If I don't answer, you're scared. Just kidding. No, I hear you. It's definitely just a different moment in how they tell their story, and I like it. It's just I want to know exactly what they're trying to portray there.
I can agree with that.
'Cause
there's a lot of things that you could potentially take away from it.
Exactly. And one thing that I wrote this in here, and I forgot I wrote it in here, but I thought it was funny. It bugged me listening to the Orc army march on Gondor. Like, because we got to hear their marching drums.
Yep.
And one of the trolls was just doing the regular every footstep, the boom, 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 boom. Like, and then somewhere in there was another troll doing an arpeggiated beat where it was boom, boom, boom. Like, well, not that degree, but it was literally like instead of doing left, right, it was like left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And I was like, why is there this troll who's doing that beat for nobody but himself? It bugged me.
Steven?
Band nerd.
He's a He's a troll.
I know. Like, I was trying to listen. All I could think of is us and every other marching band as their.
Oh, no, we'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Mourning the fact that Boromir is a piece of shit and sent Faramir off to die because loved Boromir more, and he doesn't care that Faramir is going to die, and Pippin is just overwhelmed with everything he's been through. He's not used to all the pain and death. Oh, no, that's a good point, actually.
That works. It makes sense.
No, I like that. I like that explanation.
I mean, it also makes sense because at the end, too, he was crying because he was like, he's not listening. And then they cut away. Yeah. So, hi, Dragon, by the way. Thanks for jumping in.
You know what I liked about this movie, too? We saw an origin story for Doomsday in it. The joke being that Doomsday looks like a fucking cave troll. There we go. That was my bit for that. I still can't get past how much the cave troll in the first one and the trolls in this look like fucking Doomsday. Like, Warner Brothers, you just reuse this asset, and it pisses me off to just such a degree. It's not even funny. Like, when I saw it again, I'm like, man, they just add some rocks to this. It's fucking Doomsday. Mm-hmm. Fuck you guys. Fuck you, Warner Brothers. Ugh. Okay. Question. Well, I'll figure it out later. We'll talk about it next week. Okay. Do you think? I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about because I'm just like There's so much in this that I love.
I know with me, I keep running into this same problem over and over and over again with every single franchise that I watch. I want to see what happens later, afterwards. Like,
The aftermath.
yes, I want to see the aftermath of The Lord of the Rings in Middle Earth when there's only dwarves, halflings, and humans.
There is something to give you that.
What's that?
Let me look it up.
Is it
real
the
quick.
Franken Bass cartoon?
No. Give me a second.
But, like, I want to see that. I want to see the extent of what happens with the Skywalker trilogy deep in the future. I want to see what happens with another franchise that suddenly escaped me as I was about to say it. Like,
Let me find the name of it.
is it the Silmarillion?
No. It's a video game.
Shadows of Mordor?
No, that doesn't take place afterwards, as far as I know.
That's a prequel.
Yes. It's gonna just give me a moment. There's a lot of Lord of the Rings games to go through on this list.
Like, because one of my
that was
biggest
it.
questions at the end of this movie was, like, why were people leaving? Why was this happening? Why was that happening? Why is it that in the fourth age of man are all of the magical beings leaving Middle Earth? Why this? Why that? Why, all that stuff.
Was it that game? I don't know if it actually takes place after, but I thought it did. I thought that it was Lord of the Rings, Aragorn's Quest.
Okay.
I think was it.
Well, I mean, I understand that. It doesn't have to be another book. I mean, it doesn't have to be another movie, I guess, technically, Dragon, because I agree with you. I would be mad if there's a million sequels with a movie if they don't have any rhyme or reason for being there. It's just...
Yeah, it'd be a real shame if they try to squeeze so much out of this franchise
Mhm.
that it just came out being far less while trying to emulate everything it did. God, I really hope they don't do that.
Oh, not at all. I hope they
Oh,
don't
wait.
at all. Yeah, no. So, but... Like, it all has to make sense. In a way, what they do with the movies we're going to watch next week makes sense. They explain all the fun little Easter eggs that they put in the original movies that we got to see.
They don't make sense, though.
We'll find out next week.
We're going to go into it, and
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of things that I'm going to point out that break this franchise
Mhm.
because of what they do in those.
Okay.
And it's gonna suck because they're technically together, but they don't. There's certain things that don't connect the right way, and it's not gonna work. And it's gonna be rough. And it's just, it's gonna be one of those things, okay?
Mhm.
But when we get there, there's gonna be a lot to unpack. Something else though is that, like, I think there's plenty of other, like, I don't know if, like, would that world be really that interesting of a story?
Probably not, no. But that's still, like, when I'm in a world where I enjoy it, what I've seen, I want to still know more. I like knowing the lore and the information and stuff. So, with The Lord of the Rings, I've loved what I saw in The Lord of the Rings. I want to know what happened afterwards because I was curious with things. Like, why
Fair.
did all of the elves decide to go to the Undying Lands? Why were they in Middle-earth in the first place if they were going to leave eventually anyways? Did they leave because it's now the Fourth Age of Man and they don't want magic in Middle-earth anymore? Like, these were all the questions that I had because the movie doesn't answer them. It's just... For some reason, based in what we know, the elves are leaving, and I was curious in why all the elves were leaving. And I found out it's because they all were going to the Undying Lands, where they were originally from, before the original elves disobeyed the laws of the gods and were exiled from the Undying Lands to Middle-earth. And now, after years, or thousands of years of them behaving, they were allowed to come back. So that was them all slowly coming back.
Did they really behave?
Apparently, yes.
Alright.
And the reason why Gandalf left, I was about to do it, but I decided not to. The reason why Gandalf left is because that was his home, because he's technically a minor god in the world.
Yeah.
Because that's lore, and Frodo and Bilbo were sent because they still had influences with the ring that were kind of holding them from enjoying the rest of their lives, and yeah. Yeah, I read that. I understood that because the Undying Lands makes them immortal. They already have an expanded lifestyle, but as we see with Erwin, she gave up her expanded life, and not all the elves want to do that, so they go back home to the Undying Lands where they can't die. Same with Dumbledore. He technically can't die there because, he's from there, and they invite Frodo and Bilbo over there, and I found out that they also later in life invite Sam after his wife dies, and they invite Gimli after his life progresses to the point where he's almost to death. So it's kind of like it's a retirement plan for all the friends of the Fellowship.
Yeah, it's the retirement. It's Millionaire Acres.
Yeah, basically. It's like, you'll die eventually, but you get to die in a place where no one else will die. So there's that.
You know what we could, when Aragorn's an old man, him and Arwen. I guess I really don't die then.
Yeah. Like, all I know is that I have the Silmarillion, and I just need to read it now.
Yes, sir.
Dragon.
My question is, do the other three wizards leave? Or do they stay?
Honestly don't know, but I would think yes.
There are 3 more wizards.
Yeah, there are the 5 wizards total.
Yes.
Doesn't the brown wizard die in The Hobbit?
I don't remember. Been a while.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You want to know what happened? I watched the first movie back when it premiered. Went to the premiere of that. I don't remember. Danielle, were you there at the premiere I went to? I think you were. Because I think it was a bunch, I got there and I'm like, holy shit, there's a bunch of nerds I know. I think I vaguely remember you potentially being there. Yes, okay, cool. I remembered correctly. Because I sat next to two friends from that time as well. And then I didn't watch the other 2 when they premiered. I didn't watch them when they went on DVD. You want to know when I watched the other 2?
When they're free to watch on Netflix. I don't know.
No. When I was in the hospital for 72 hours, they came on TV. And so I watched them then.
Fun.
Because there was nothing else to do. And I was like, well, this is finally the moment to watch Desolation of Smog and Battle of 5 Armies. That's when I finally caved. I was like, well, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the 2 blue wizards, which we never see. Really surprised they are ham-fisted thrown into the Hobbit, but we'll get there. God, the Hobbit conversation's got to be long. You know this, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, we're watching 3 movies and we're gonna judge them all.
I think, personal opinion, we may want to shorten our non-spoiler sections and have spoiler all.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I wanted to spoil all the movies as they connect because didn't you realize, Dev, we're doing all the books in each week and we're spoiling all the books that were turned into movies. So it was book 1.
I didn't even realize that we did that either.
Yeah, it was book 1, book 2, book 3, and then The Hobbit, book 4.
No, like the problem is we thought this trilogy was long. There's so much bullshit in The Hobbit. Oh god. God.
Okay. So I'm looking up random things right now. As it said, Gandalf went back to his home in Valinor. Radagast actually never left Middle Earth because he became so fascinated with plant and animal life that he just forgot the reason why he came to Middle Earth in the first place and just kind of stuck there. The Blue Wizards ventured to the far east in order to hinder and weaken all the efforts to the Dark East to aid their task to circumvent Sauron brings the few tribesmen to rebel at the medical blah 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 blah.
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you not hear me?
Even.
For fuck's sakes!
I can't hear you. I don't know why.
Why is that?
He just retweeted a picture of someone holding up the sign "All jobs are essential," and he's like, "As someone who has made a living pretending to be a computer-generated talking raccoon, I assure you, all jobs are not essential."
Yep, we're back. So it says here in this article that Gandalf returned back home. Saruman died, and in his death was barred from returning home, so he essentially died forever. Unlike Gandalf, when he died, he went back.
That's rough.
Yeah. Radagast stayed. But after time, people just don't know what happened to him. And the two Blue Wizards, they apparently traveled to the east, like past Mordor, to try and stop his forces from grouping up during the second and third era. And all we have to say otherwise is a letter written from Tolkien to someone named Rona Bear, saying that, well, they in the second and third age they headed east, and they tried to cause disarray to the forces of the east, and it seems things worked out, or else they would have been outnumbered. So, in the west. So, but we don't really know what happened. At least that's really what it says here. So, so no, the Blue Wizards don't go back.
For all we know, they perished.
Yeah.
That's rough.
So yeah,
that was weird. I could hear that gulp. That was your mic. That was so holy shit. If I could have soundbited it, it was perfect. It was the perfect, like, you could hear the liquid.
What's wrong with my stuff?
No, I've seen you take multiple drinks during the stream, and it's picked up nothing. That one, it came through perfect.
Just crispy.
It was all right. It was like a cartoon.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about Lord of the Rings: Return of the King?
No, I don't think so. I think we've hit our threshold there.
Dragon, before my stream ends, and fourth wall breaking. I don't know why, I like that it can only go through one side, because since I can't go this way, it's like I'm actually have depth.
You do. You have depth. It's kind of cool.
I love it. So,
it would be really cool if we set it up so that your table had a green screen so you could reach down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would have to change the camera angles a bit, but yeah, that would be interesting. So yeah, there's that. News for this week. We're switching to the new. I have to change me again. Hello, everybody. I'm Giant. Woo! Spooky magic.
He was wondering if there was anything else you wanted to add before we officially move on completely.
Yeah, do you have any questions? Any this, that, or the other thing? At all? Anything? Our dear dragony friend who breathes fire. Hmm. Also, I can use this on Dragon, my new emote in chat. This is at you, Dragon, because you're a Lord of the Rings nerd. Take that. Ha 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 ha.
I don't know if this is really relevant to anything, but breaking CNN reports that North Korea's Kim Jong Un is in grave danger after following a surgery.
Hmm.
I felt that was interesting to share.
That is some interesting news. Too bad it's not movie news. I mean, it could have impact on movies. Just ask the interview.
Well, someone just funny enough, someone posted a leaked picture of Kim Jong Un's surgeons, and it's Franco and Rogan from the interview.
That's awesome.
You could not have done that better.
Perfect timing.
Because I was about to bring that up. Well done. Well done.
I'm trying to look up other news because there wasn't. Once again, last week wasn't a big news week because you know.
For some odd reason, news has been a little slow.
I have no idea why.
No, I couldn't put my finger on it.
So, I don't know. There's talks of a new Dune movie coming out.
Yeah, they shared some set photos and stuff.
Yeah, with David Lynch saying that he has absolutely no interest in the movie and denies working on it with Netflix. Let's see. Fandango.
Wasn't his the Dune that failed?
Yes? Question mark? I don't know, honestly. Let's see. Fandango buys Voodoo. So
Really?
yes. So I use Fandango to buy movie tickets before going to the movies. Voodoo I've used once or twice before, but now they're owned by the same company, so there's that. Trolls World Tour still doing really good. Despicable Me hits top charts on Netflix. Yeah, one of the most popular movies on Netflix right now. Despicable Me.
No. Oh. No.
Oh, there was something. I hated this. I saw an article this week that was why Star-Lord calls himself Star-Lord. Yeah.
It's a childhood thing.
Yeah, it was very obviously explained in the first movie that his mom calls him Star-Lord, so he calls himself Star-Lord. But apparently, my guess is because those people never saw the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, would be my guess. So, but still.
What a dumb article. And I'm never gonna read it.
Let's see. Oh, one thing that, since we're here and there's not really much news to talk about, are you watching anything? Any stuff you want to introduce to the
I've
world?
Hello, I've been watching Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, the new season.
Yes. And they did a really cool thing for the beginning of the final 4 episodes, where it started out with, like, you know how the movie had the intro with the red logo and everything?
Mm-hmm.
And it played the Star Wars music and everything like that. They're kind of doing that, but it's like it's still like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. And like they have like, not that the series didn't already have Star Wars music in it, but like it's like straight out of the movie John Williams score.
Okay.
Kind of stuff. Because I don't think John Williams worked on everything Clone Wars. But I from what I believe, I think John Williams is working on the music for this set.
Okay.
Which is awesome. And like I think they're a little bit longer episodes too. Like they're like a full 30. If not, like they might be a little longer as it goes on. But it's I'm loving it. I know people are like, oh, this arc is only going to be like 4 episodes. I'm pretty sure they're going to be longer episodes. Is why it's taking longer, or why it's only 4 episodes. Because like there was build up as to like this season was a build up for Rex's character and for Ahsoka's character, and then the last 4 episodes are those 2 characters on Mandalore, which ties into the fact that there's rumor that Rex is also going to show up in Mandalorian, which I would love because it is confirmed that like they tweaked the canon so that on the Battle of Endor, Rex is there. That guy with the white beard is Rex, clone Commander Rex. Because it's a minor spoiler, but it's something I want to share. Is that Rex does get a promotion? My boy becomes Commander Rex and not just Captain Rex, and I'm so happy for him. Because it's so cool. I love this show. Clone Wars is my faith in Star Wars. I hate that it's a fucking kids show. That is my faith in this fucking franchise. But when you watch the show, you're like, oh, I see why.
It's actually kind of funny. I used to listen to this podcast called the New Canon Book Club for Star Wars. Star Wars New Canon Book Club is what it was called. And some people who are probably big internet people might know of it. Maybe, I don't know. It's not very well known. It's like a Jesse Cox thing. But it's funny because they go through everything that's Star Wars in the new canon, and they're doing it slowly, so they're not getting through it all very quickly. Wow, I'm repeating myself. But
Noted.
One of the guys talks about the Clone Wars in a way that I would talk about the Clone Wars, where he's just like, man, I listened to the writing and the storytelling, and God, it's fucking awful. But it's a kid's movie, and it has some interesting Star Wars themes sometimes. It's like 1 out of every 13 episodes is a great Star Wars episode.
Well, the problem is you also need to watch, like, there's mini arcs throughout it. There's certain arcs that you can skip entirely. Like, you could skip all the Jar Jar episodes. Easy. Just cut. Because there are arcs that you can cut completely. The arcs that are, like, needed to watch are Anakin heavy episodes, Obi-Wan heavy episodes, Ahsoka heavy episodes, and Clone heavy episodes. Everything else isn't as important. Even like Yoda heavy episodes, except for like the last arc with Yoda, where he like where it explains a little bit about the Wisps, and you know the journal of the Wisps and stuff like that, and the Force Ghost stuff, where it's a little bit of that's explained. But like for the most part, episodes that don't revolve around Rex / Cody / the I can't remember their name now. Their group name. But like Five's Echoes heavy in them. It doesn't involve their batch. And then Anakin, Obi-Wan, all the Maul, and what's his fucking name? Maul's brother.
Savage.
Thank you, Savage Opress. And like and some of Assassin Ventress's important stuff. Like,
it sounds like you're explaining basically every other episode, other than the Jar Jar episodes.
No,
like I know there's more, but you're like, you don't watch this except for this episode and this episode and these episodes, this episode.
Like there are episodes with those characters in it that you can cut, like straight up. But there's certain arcs you need to watch, like. Anything
you can
with
say that
Mandalore.
with any television or franchise, though.
Oh, yeah, duh. Like, I guess the best way to put it is look at it as an anime. There's a lot of filler and a lot of good. You know what I mean? Like, I would honestly say that show is at least for the first 3 seasons, is a 50-50 split. 4 onward, there's less of the, there's honestly less kid stuff in it.
Like, I see that. I understand that.
Especially this latest season, actually, because there's some straight up moments where lightsabers cut people, and I'm like, holy shit. This was a kid's show. At one point, this was made for children. It's not anymore.
Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
I think that's everything for me.
No, all right. I've got nothing else myself either, except for if you haven't figured it out already. Next week we're watching all 3 Hobbit films, watching and reviewing. So,
The Unexpected Journey, The Desolation of Smog, and the Battle of 5 Armies.
which there's like. Either way, that's the thing that's happening. We're watching those movies next week. I forgot to change this one too.
Well, at least it's set for next week if this needs to happen again.
I mean,
or it's your permanent thing.
I mean, yeah, this is just kind of fun. I like having depth. If only I
like how you have a shadow a little bit over it too. That's cool.
Yeah, a little right there, and that little bit of shadow right there.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Fuck. We are again. You need to go back, clip that moment, so you could play it at the beginning, and we'll see. We'll see. If I'm wrong, I will not start the show like I said I will.
I mean, I'm just not going to start the show that way. I can already call it because I'm going to be lazy and do as little work as possible.
You know what? Then I'll fucking do it.
Sure, you can do it. Absolutely.
Fuck it.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about? Good stuff?
Nope.
All right. So yeah, that's we're done here. I'm just gonna keep moving me around, I guess. Yeah, we're done here. We got nothing else to talk about this week, so thank everybody for joining us. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Thanks for talking. We finally finished the mainline Lord of the Rings trilogy. So yeah, it only took 14 hours and 3 weeks, and you know, all that. So until then, see you guys next week. Join us on Discord, follow us on Twitter and YouTube and all that stuff. You know, all that stuff already. Yeah, that's it. Bye.
Bye. I don't want to do it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to do it.
That was the cry of the dragon in the mountain. Take cover.
Wait, the call of the dragon.